Hi guys! Happy Wednesday. It is June 6th and I'm really excited because now moving forward, every time I'm on a team call, I'm in Pacific Standard Time, which is so much better than 10 p.m. Sorry for East Coasters. I did it for 4 years, every single week, so you can do it too. Okay, so a couple of things I wanted to touch base on really quickly before we turn the time over to Melissa. By the way, get pens, papers, get ready to rock because this girl always has so much insight and I just love her heart. So I'm super excited. But first, if you guys have checked out the Lyft for preview, raise your hand. Oh my gosh, I see some really aggressive ones. Oh, Kinsley and Lisa, you guys are so cute. Okay, that program is amazing. Like, let's blow up the chat real quick because I'm so excited about this freaking program. Jackie's literally sitting right next to me and she just typed in the chat. That's funny. I'm super excited about this program. I know so many of you guys are. So if you didn't check out all of the details in the FAQ and in the little post that I posted in Fit Foundation, be sure to check out the details. It seems like a really confusing launch at first because there's so many dates. Basically what Beachbody's trying to do is give another reason why people can continue to add volume as well as get the best deals on products in their catalog, right? So basically what it is VIP access gives you access to the program in July, but the official launch is not until the fall, right? So if you have that VIP access, you're gonna get the program early. So think about it that way. If you wanna start the program in July, you wanna get that program and you wanna get the VIP membership, which check out all the FAQs. I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time breaking down all the details, but check that out. And if you are like, you know what, I'm just gonna hang tight, I'm gonna wait until after summer, I wanna do it in the fall, as a Beachbody on-demand customer, you'll get access to the entire library of videos in the fall. So that's kind of how it works. And I'm really excited about the way that they're rolling things out now, just because it's program after program, but it's giving you this like phased launch versus hitting us with like 80-day obsession and then another program and then to be mindset and all this stuff. It's a lot, but the way that this is timed and released, it makes a lot of sense. And as you guys know who turned into the team call last week, Joel explained like why this program is so awesome for summer and travel. And I don't know, if you want a road trip across country like we just did or whatever, it's a 4-day-a-week program, right? So anyways, check out all the details. If you have any questions, use the team page as a resource. We have access to whatever you guys need. There's going to be definitely some more information about team-based specific things that we're going to launch, but I'm having a call with some of the other leaders on the team to come up with some ideas around that first, and then I'll be sure to get it into you with a video. And then last thing I want to talk about, Summit, as you guys know, is coming up. Super excited. How many of you guys are going to Summit? Oh, I love the fish is like, cool. Okay, I'm super excited to see so many of you guys there. I will be providing information ahead of time on how to like stream stuff. If you don't know what Summit is, you literally still could come. Coaches can come up until the last minute. You can literally buy tickets at the door. It was the event that changed my entire trajectory of my business without a single doubt in my mind. I would not be here at this stage of my business had I not gone to Summit and seen how much bigger it was than just me, right? So often it's easy to do that when you're behind a computer screen. So, okay, without further ado, I want to turn the time over to Melissa. We've got a bunch of awesome new stuff going on the team, but like give your full attention to this girl. She's a rock star coach. She's an incredible human being. She just had a birthday and she's got guns and she could literally like bench press you. So pay attention to her or she'll kick your butt. Anyways, I love you guys and take it away, Melissa. Let's do this.
Ooh, unmuted. Okay. Hi, guys. So really quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Melissa Bixby, and I've been coaching for, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to close the chat. There's no way I'm going to make it through with that going on. Okay, there we go. Been coaching for, I just counted like a little over 3.5 years. So I wanted to talk about something that's happened like in the last year or 6 months or so of my business. So this is kind of for anybody, I really think, like brand new coaches, tenured coaches, because I've been on both ends of it. And then I wanted to talk about anxiety. And I want to clarify that really quick because I know some people suffer from like legit debilitating anxiety. And this, I'm more talking about kind of nervousness, that kind of icky feeling in your stomach, you know, like minor dread, that kind of thing. So when I say anxiety, I'm not trying to downplay other like true anxiety, but I just wanted to clarify that because I know some people who suffer from that. It's super intense. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about it because I spent a lot of time, and really in the last year, thinking about why I had those moments of anxiety in my business. And in the beginning, I really started to think that it was pointing me away from coaching. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I get up and I have this little nervous kind of dready type feeling of not wanting to do, and this goes for anything, but for me personally, it was like invites or posting or even messaging or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I not reading the signs? Do I need to move on from this? And I'm not really good at quitting things. So even though that was in my brain, I was like, hell's no, I'm just going to give up until I dive into that and really figure out where that anxiety is coming from, and making sure, if that was the case, which obviously it was not, that it was directing me elsewhere, and it wasn't just me copping out of the hard work of digging into those kinds of feelings. So I started to give it some really kind of a digging deep thought, and I'm going to give you some kind of action steps on what I did to get there for you. But I'm looking at my notes here because otherwise I'll ramble. Oh, starting my timer. Anyway, so really what I finally realized after going through this kind of process of digging into that feeling of anxiety, I realized that what it was doing was directing me to my sweet spot of this business. So I had been really surface level and really just kind of coasting on, I meant to say this at the beginning, I came from the fitness background, right? I used to be a CrossFit coach, group fitness instructor. So I had coasted on that for a really long time. I had been like, well, I'm the fitness person. Let's just go with that. I don't really have to figure out any of my things. I don't really have to be inventive or figure new things out. I'm just the fitness girl, right? This should be easy. This should just kind of happen for me. And I realized that when I started to dig into it. And what I didn't realize is that I had not found my voice in this business. So anybody that knows me probably noticed this at some point, and maybe some of you are guilty of it as well. But in the beginning, I was super guilty of doing the copy and paste of templates for things, right? And we're talking maybe not posts, but, invites, hey girls, doing assignments from other people's stuff. And there is nothing wrong with learning from the incredible humans on this team, because we have some incredible humans on this team. But what I finally realized was that copy and pasting stuff just does nobody any good, right? And that's where a lot of that icky feeling, that kind of anxiety around, again, for me was like inviting, came from. And it really is so, I can't even tell you the weight that will be lifted off your shoulders if you take a second and dig a little bit deeper into some of those feelings. And I want you to remember that I'm talking from my experience. This can be applied to anything. This is not just inviting. This is posting transformation posts. This is just messaging somebody. This is sticking to your guns about requiring Shakeology for your challenge groups. This is anything that you ever come up against that you're just I don't know, a little bit of anxiety about. So take it to your experience and really start to apply it. So a couple things that I wanted to action step, because I'm a huge action step person. When I was digging into these feelings that I were having was, one, I started to realize that every time I felt that way, every time that I felt a little bit of oh my gosh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the work today, or whatever, my invites or whatever it happens to be. And I realized that I was either one of a few things. One, I was outside of my mission or my purpose. I'm going to talk about that in a second. I was doing something outside of that, or I was talking I was not talking in my voice, right? Or I was not talking to my people. So we're going to dig a little bit more into each one of these things. Now, the mission and purpose was a huge deal to me because you guys all know, we've talked about our why a million times. If you've seen any team call, we talk about why every single day, and that's what's going to get you through, and that's what encourages you to do the hard work and gets you to show up. And for some reason, that verbiage was not clicking with me. In the first, I feel the first 3 years of my business, it just did not click. And I'm sure there's a few other things that went into that. But when I started to think about it as a mission or a purpose, which is the exact same thing, but I just had to switch the verbiage in my brain. It made all the difference, right? I actually had this like, oh my gosh, I have a mission to get people to be excited about fitness, right? When I thought about the why, it actually made me feel a little guilty because, you know, I'm not woken up and driven by just by helping people. And that sounds kind of tricky, but that's it. I mean, it doesn't light a fire under my booty. And what does is getting people excited about fitness, right? I mean, you can tell just like how I said that, like how I said the two things. Like when I start thinking about empowering women to actually enjoy how their body moves and enjoy how it makes them feel, and like how their kids start to, oh my gosh. Anyway, so think about those things. And realize that once you figure that out, and that's why it's so important to figure that out, because all of that kind of hard stuff, or the feeling that it's hard, is when you're outside of that mission or purpose, right? That was one thing that really clicked for me. So that's one thing that one of my, oh no, I'm going to get to my action steps later. Wait, but think about that. So think about it however you need to, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a why, and don't feel guilty. Do not feel guilty if it's not just helping people. Okay, there are so many incredible aspects about this business. And to be fair, they all come back around to helping people anyway. But if focusing on that doesn't light you up and get you out of bed every morning and get you to do those daily tasks, in and out business building activities, figure out what does. Find your little tiny mission in all of this, like almost your end goal, even an ongoing goal as you go through this, that's going to get you like pumped and get you to show up every single day. So that was one thing. I got fired up about that. And then the second thing that I kind of came to when I was going through this process of being like, dude, I'd rather this be fun than this be a drain on my energy and cause me anxiety, was recognizing those moments. So in the past, I would just gloss over them, right? I'd just be like, nope, this is just hard work. This is how it's supposed to feel. You just got to chug through and, you know, check off the boxes of invites or hey girls or whatever it happens to be that you were checking off. And that was it. That's how it felt. That's how hard work feels, which is such, I don't know if I can see any kids. It's such BS, right? And that's such BS, especially in this business. Yes, it's hard work. Yes, there are going to be days that you're not like on top of the world and being like super excited about everything. But in general, you guys, this should feel fun and light, and you should feel excited and just like so motivated to talk to people that it's not a drain on your energy. And I guarantee you that if you take a minute to do some of these things, you will find that there's some little disconnect in what you're doing. And that's where that kind of anxious, icky feeling is coming from. Not so much just what we're doing. I'm getting off topic. Anyway, so recognizing that. So don't gloss over it, and when you feel that moment, be like, deep breath, but sit in it for a second. And I'm not talking about sitting in it or I'm not talking about wallowing in it. It's a very different word, right? We're not going to wallow in our anxiety, but we're going to recognize that feeling and start to really pinpoint what it is that's bringing that up. And that brings me, now we're to the action points, to my action points that I found when I was sitting in that anxiety and just being aware of it, I guess. Sitting in it sounds bad, but being aware of that feeling and then working on pinpointing what it was. And I came up with these three things. And these were the three things for me that, sweaty, I had to put my sweatpants, that started to click, that I realized that I was off center on. And that's where those kind of icky feelings were coming from. So one was, my slipper because my feet are sweating, being confident and excited about what you're inviting to, what you're sharing, and what you have to offer, right? So this is all such a huge cycle. Like everything connects back to everything else. And I may mention the same things over and over again because it all has to do with everything else. But this is basically Vital Behaviors 101. Being confident in what you're doing, what you have to offer, and what you're inviting to comes from doing it, right? Like, I don't know anybody else who did, I know tons of you did 80-day obsession, like on January, whatever, 15th that we started. Not that I remember that day in my brain. And it went 80 days through. And I swear to you, in like all my time into this, and I've done some hard things, like, and done some really cool things and been accomplished some things. But those 80 days of sticking to the meal plan, 100%. I didn't have a sip of alcohol. I did the workouts every single day. And I've never felt more accomplished and more confident and more freaking pumped about what we're doing and what we have to offer than after that, right? And it doesn't have to be 80-day obsession. When was the last time that you did a program from day 1 to day 21 or 30 or 60, right? We say that, it goes in one ear and out the other. And I swear to you, if you are struggling with something like inviting or posting or whatever it is for you, do a program day 1 to day 21 or whatever. And and meal plan too. I'm sorry. That's another part of it. Like, the working out is awesome, but completing one of these programs to a T all the way through, you guys, that is going to build this confidence inside yourself. And this isn't about anybody else. This isn't about showing the before and afters or anything. This is about that confidence inside of you being like, dude, like, I can do hard things. And this stuff works. And building that confidence starts to chip away at that anxiety. And it starts to chip away at that nervousness because you're confident about it and you're building that inside of yourself. And then the second part of that was being excited about it. And this is one thing that I was incredibly guilty of, especially in the beginning, was I wasn't even excited about my challenge groups. Right? Like, tell me somebody else has had that moment in their business where they've had this challenge group that keeps going and going. And I swear if I do another wall sit, I'm going to burn my house down, right? Like, I'm sorry, I don't, if anybody likes those, you know what I mean? But you have to be excited about what you're doing. I don't care that we sit on our computers and type to people and stuff, right? They can tell. They can freaking tell. And even if you're not even worried about them, that icky feeling, that nervousness comes from you being like, okay, so we're inviting to this, and it's not going to help them because it's boring and we're doing the same things and they've done it a million times. And these new people aren't going to care because these people have done it a million times. I might show up for it because, right? Like, I mean, I know that you've all maybe felt that, maybe just a little bit, right? And so being excited, so create something that you're excited about. And I'm working on it. Coming up with really exciting assignments is not my biggest strong suit. But you guys, look at this right here. This team, I guarantee you, if you reach out to any human on this team, they would send you every single assignment they have ever created, right? It is, I'm going to say it. I'm totally going to say it. It's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness, because you can get something that you're excited about or make something up. My team and I are coming up with this next group because we were all kind of getting to that point. You know, we are doing outdoor assignments. We're like throwing in some kind of hiking stuff. We're talking about mindset and some personal development. We're throwing that in there because we want to be more excited about it. And we're all incredibly pumped now. And inviting to that is so much easier, right? It's so much easier when you're just like, yeah, like let's go challenge everybody to do a hike next Saturday. And I mean, like, how easy would that be to invite to? And oh my gosh, and this is a shameless plug for Lift 4. That is a gold mine, you guys. That is an incredible gold mine. And the way that I'm looking at it is you can completely revamp your challenge groups for that. You can get re-excited by using this new program. It's only 4 days a week. So you get all your local people together and go to hot yoga one day, or you gather them up and go on a hike, right? You build that camaraderie. And even if they're not local, I don't know, go live in your challenge groups as you're hiking or as you're sweating like crazy in a hot yoga class. And then it's not too much for people. It's changing things up for people. Anyway, I don't want to go off on Lift 4 for too much, but anyway, utilize that to get excited. So that was the one thing, that was step one. I was trying to watch my timer. About digging deep into these. So be confident and be excited. And those are some ways that you can do that, right? And it really, really starts to chip away at any of that nervousness or anxiety that you have surrounding your business. The second thing is your voice. And this, I know we've heard a million times, but we've heard it a million times because it's so incredibly true that if you're not speaking to people in your voice, you're going to feel gross, right? It's just not going to feel good. And again, one thing that I was completely guilty of in the beginning of my business, copy and pasting invite templates, right? You look at these incredible, successful coaches on our team, and we have so many of them. It's so easy to do. And they share these amazing templates. You're like, oh my gosh, they get so many people to join them and be excited. That's got to work, right? So you copy and paste, and maybe you change it a little bit. And then all of a sudden you get this icky feeling, and you get some maybe negative responses. And I'm not talking no's, I'm talking like, some negative responses. And then all of a sudden inviting is a chore, and inviting is horrible, and inviting makes you feel sick to your stomach. But then, right? But then you take your deep breath, you sit in that for a moment and be like, I wouldn't say that. And I was going to read this to you actually, just really quick, because I actually have an invite. I still have a template, and it's completely copied from, I think Jackie shared this with us, but I said it out loud. I switched the verbiage around, changed some of the verbiage around. And now I swear to you, since I started using this one that I said out loud, wrote down in my own voice and using my own verbiage, I have literally not got a single negative response. And that doesn't mean I haven't gotten a no, right? That doesn't mean I haven't had people ghost on me, because that's just going to happen always, forever. Like, let's just let that go. But I haven't had a single person come back with any kind of icky feeling, weirdness, because it was just my voice. Right? They can't argue with that. No one can be mad about that if you are really like speaking from your sweet little heart and sharing your excitement about these amazing challenge groups that you've created and doing it in your voice. And I don't really want to read it to you, but I can post it later or something. But I say things like, dude, of course. I say things like accountability buddy group, and then point out how dorky it is to call it accountability buddy group. And I've gotten so many responses from that. There's like, oh my God, that's hilarious, and it at least starts a conversation. And it's really twofold as well, because not only does it, again, chip away at that icky feeling that you have if you copy and paste templates, because it's just you saying things, but you're building that connection. And I totally lost what I was going to say, the second part. It's weeding out people, right? It's weeding out those people, because we do our best to connect with them and figure out that, we can help them and that they're in our niche and that kind of thing. But it also weeds out people. If they read that and they're like, you're a crazy person, and don't respond, somebody else out there will be better suited to help them, right? So it's kind of a really helpful tool that you use your voice, use that verbiage, and that they can decide right off the bat if you're their kind of person, and then you go from there, right? And then everything's so much better. And that's, again, one thing that was proven in my business in the beginning is that I've had an insane amount of coaches come and go. And I swear, like looking back, hindsight, of course, it's because I wasn't speaking to them like myself. So they got in thinking that I was someone else, like, I don't even remember, I've kind of blocked that out, but right, that I was someone else, that I acted a different way, that I wasn't kind of dorky or super intense about workouts, or, really expecting people to show up. I was wishy-washy, so they thought they could be, right? Being yourself and using your voice just takes care of all of that right from the get. And then you end up getting people that are fun to have in your challenge groups, that you're cycle, right? That you're excited to invite to, because you have all these fun and amazing people in. And then let alone that these people are now probably going to be excited to join your team and continue that ripple effect of fun and excitement and confidence everywhere. So that was number 2. That was really loud. So saying it out loud and stuff. And then this kind of goes with number 2, really. It's just talking to your people. A lot of times early on in my business, I would just invite people, and this sounds really horrible. And it's not that I didn't care about them, but I invited people that I wasn't concerned about their response, I guess, right? So it was people that I knew weren't in my niche, that I knew that we wouldn't bond, that we wouldn't really become friends. It was an easy invite, right? And so they were, so then of course some of them said yes, and of course I would help them, but it never lasted. And it was usually kind of painful on one end or the other, right? Because there was no real connection, the communication was off. So talking to your people, whether you're intimidated by them or not, the more intimidated I feel like, the more you should invite them, but is super key as well. Okay, and again, that cycle comes into play. You're talking to your people, you're talking in your voice. The anxiety is going to go away, because if they're truly your people, they're going to understand your voice and they're going to understand your heart. They're not going to think that you're just trying to like sell them something. They're going to actually understand and see that you're really just want to go hiking with them and want them to be fit so they can keep up with you, so they join your group, right? So you see, like, so it's all that huge cycle of things. And hold on, that might have been it. So really so it all kind of comes together with finding, and you can't mention one thing, it's this huge cycle. So finding that mission and purpose, I guess, would kind of be first, because once you get really into that and really solid in that in yourself, then the rest of you just kind of starts to come out, right? Then your voice just kind of comes out because you're doing something that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, and you can't keep that in, right? You can't fake through that if you're really doing something that is within your mission of all this stuff. And then people are attracted to you, that you will vibe with. Your niche is just going to be like, whoop, like I want to be there with you. And then it's just going to be this huge, amazing ripple effect of like awesomeness. And I think that's kind of all I had. I didn't even look at my timer, and I was definitely not watching the chat.
You are awesome. That content is so incredible. If you weren't watching the chat, everyone thinks you're amazing and incredible and was breaking their necks nodding at you. So does anyone have any questions? If you have questions specifically for Melissa, feel free to drop them in the chat. My question to you is, a new coach like comes in and they're kind of like, they don't really know who they are yet. Is there something that you would say would help them like speed up that process? Or if they're kind of feeling like they don't know how to talk in their voice because they've never done something like this before, what kind of advice would you give to that type of a coach, like a newer coach?
Yeah, like the number one thing is just like the thing that I say to myself even now is that if you are having a hard time sending an invite or doing a post even, right? As a new coach, maybe you're just posting your journey. Take a deep breath and literally just post what you're feeling, right? This is not, we don't have to write a novel. You don't have to say the right thing. If it's difficult to post, it's just because you're overthinking it, right? Like literally just sit down and be like, okay, after your workout, and be like, all right, so my knee hurts now, but my endorphins are pumping or something like that, right? And make that into a post. It doesn't have to be mind-blowing. It doesn't have to be perfection. It just has to be literally what you're thinking, I think, is what really helped me do that.
So true. Like even maybe putting like a timer if you're taking a long time to post something, that like if it's taking you that long, then maybe it's not like your actual voice, something like that. Okay, another question for you is, was there something that like, obviously you've been here for 3.5 years, you have had different seasons in your business. Is there something that like caused this aha moment or this realization for you to kind of take a different direction? Did you miss a big goal? Like fill us in on like the backstory of kind of how you got to this place, and how, if there's maybe even like a teachable moment that you can pull out of how you got here, that someone might not actually have to do the same thing to get their own version of this aha. I'm making the question long to give you time because I realize I'm giving you just really hard curveball questions right now, but that one was low, so blame it on low.
Awesome. Thanks, Lo. Well, I think this actually was spurred by two things. One, kind of an outside force kind of threw some things up in my face to think about and look at. And I think that can happen sometimes too. And that's obviously not something that you can control in the beginning. But yeah, it's kind of tough. I think just like being really honest with yourself is really where I kind of missed out on that. When I was skating by on what I thought I was supposed to do or what I felt like I should do, and just spend like 5 minutes every day and just be like, wait, why am I doing this? Like, what's my I mean, even if you want to call it an end goal, even though I don't believe there's an end goal in all this because we're constantly growing and changing and doing things, but like, what's your end goal in this? You know, what is it that like you want out of this? And I'm not even talking about your why, but like, just, I don't know, like, what are you aiming towards? You know, and you can think about that. And of course, some people will say income and stuff, but then you can break that down into, yeah, but you could go work at McDonald's and make an income. I mean, like, you know, whatever. So
I love that.
And it was and it did, honestly, for me, it was time. Like,
yeah.
And it was just kind of my frustration came to a breaking point, actually, of like, okay, I'm sick of feeling this way in my business. I either need to figure out that, is this not for me, or am I like copping out and not doing the work that I need to be doing to get there? So, and that's obviously what I figured out. So.
I'm glad you chose the latter. I would have never let you leave. Just show up at your house. Okay, one more question. Personal development recommendations. Do you have maybe a couple go-tos and maybe why behind them? If you have I feel like you have like 2 or 3 just came to your brain based off of your facial expression. Yeah. Listen.
So many. So I really liked The Big Leap is one that I've read recently. And that just because I feel like it's kind of a Fisher cut bait book. It's like, you know, if you decide you're going to do it, then show up and do it. Or otherwise, what are you wasting your time with? Like, why would you just like tittle along with it? Right? Why not just do it? So I feel like The Big Leap really did that. And then my classic is always, You Are a Badass, because just because it's that great, like, quick reminder. And oh man, I could keep listening. The Un-F Yourself is a really good one. Nothing mind-blowing. I didn't even take any notes or anything, but it's just kind of like that. All right, dude, like, come on, wake up. And that's a really quick read too.
Okay, last question, because those are all so good. So go Un-F Yourself, You're a Badass by Jen Sincero, and Gay Hendricks, The Big Leap. All great. Everyone should read all of those. Totally agree. Last question. Oh, you have another one?
Oh no, sorry. I was reading that. I was like, oh yeah, Mel Robbins. There's so many. Like,
okay, last question is, someone is like kind of in like a funk, or there's like, you know, I know you said to revamp your challenge groups and you think that's a good place to start. Is there anything else that you can think of that could help someone pull themselves out of a funk and just get this fire back that you clearly have because you're standing up doing your team call? And I can see your butt in the mirror every once in a while. It looks great. So.
I'm wearing pants.
Me too. Any little like tip to like get unstuck if someone feels stuck?
Yeah. So the number one thing that I do is change something, whatever it is, like anything. I mean, it could be where you work. It could be your challenge groups. It could be the number of things that you set your goal to do each day or whatever. And the second thing is to just like simplify everything.
Yes.
So that's what I do when I get to this point of like total frustration and I'm not doing anything and nothing is happening and I'm not moving forward with what I want. I'm like, whoa, dude, take it back. You connect with people, you invite people, and you love them. And that's it. I'm sorry, like I guess that was it. So that's
amazing. Melissa, you're freaking awesome. Thank you so much. And also just seriously, thank you for being so honest and real, because I think there's so many of us that resonate with the real story behind all of this. Like, this is how I felt. I don't want to come off this way, but like just hearing that from you with so much tenure in the business, such a huge heart, and just sharing your real ups, downs, struggles. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time and prepping for this. Everyone for being on live. I'll get the recording posted in the team page. I love you all, and we will see you all soon. Thank you, Melissa. Mwah.
Yeah.